Hello and welcome to the Just Another Castle podcast. I'm your host Matt, and with me this week is our resident gaming journalist Eli.
Hello, y'all.
And our retro aficionado Unoclay.
Hey guys, I got a little quick game for the two of you. This is retro reference, but it's a movie and it's Nintendo related. If you can guess the movie, I'll give you a kiss on the lips when I see you. Here it comes.
But then when my mom got busted, I got put in regular school.
Is it the Wizard?
Oh, you missed it. I can't even make it go back fast enough. He said, "Yeah, sorry, I'm gonna kill it." It was you talked right over. Good guess. Not correct. The thing that right when you talked, he said, all the other kids were into Nintendo. Was the end of the clip. Any guesses, Eli?
I have no idea, man.
There can't be that many Nintendo movies.
No, it's not about video games at all. It's a random reference in a great 80s movie. I'll give you one hint that I'm dropping it. It has had multiple sequels, but most people only consider episodes one, the versions one, whatever, movies 1 and 2 any good. And then there was a TV series on Fox that was pretty promptly canceled about 3 years ago. And the star was a governor of a United States.
Okay, so it's something to do with Arnold Schwarzenegger? The Apprentice?
Terminator?
Yeah, it's Terminator 2. There's a scene I was watching the other night, and he's in the training camp with his mom when they're getting some guns, and he's talking to the Terminator about his childhood, and randomly he just disses Nintendo. He's like, yeah, I was basically learning to blow shit up when I was a kid. All the other kids were into Nintendo.
Clay, you gave it away when you said governor of California, because if there's anything I know, it's politics. So I'm like...
He had to throw us a little bit of a bone, to be fair.
That movie's so good, and then I was so mad at it that this is Nintendo. Right in a great film. What was that? Why'd you gotta hate on Nintendo? But there you go. Hi guys, how you feeling?
Yeah.
So, welcome back, Eli.
Yeah.
Yeah, how you doing?
Yeah,
man?
for the listeners, I have been without internet for several weeks. I've been living under a rock, wearing limited amount of clothing.
I'm pretty sure that's the 10th
I had a Nintendo Switch. It was just me and the Nintendo Switch.
And no clothes.
That was about it. So
amazing.
Good to have you back.
So I'm back in the 21st century. I still have my Switch, this age-old technology.
Nice.
And I'm here to talk to you.
Yay!
As is customary.
Yeah.
Do you
As
the main
tradition.
question, do you have clothes on now? Because you're out from under your rock and people can't see you. And thank God we don't use our cameras on this podcast.
Yeah. So after the internet installation guy came in, he was a little surprised that I was just walking around the leaf, but across leaf underwear, undergarments. But after he plugged in, the modem. I just magically clothed myself.
All right.
And he was like, "Whoa!" and then he kind of ran away real quick.
Yeah, good stuff. That's a true gentlemanly thing. Once he provided you with service, then you clothed yourself. That's truly a magical thing. Congrats, dude.
Oh man.
And with that,
yep.
How about what we've been playing?
Yeah,
right, Matt?
Yeah, great job. Couldn't do a better segue. So I'll get into what I've been playing in a second, but I've kind of been on a quest for a Switch. So what happened was I went to Toronto for hanging out with some college buddies. Someone was moving to Vancouver for a couple of months, and they're like, "Hey, come on down. I'm inviting everyone. Let's hang out." And of course, as with any trip to Toronto, I have to screw it up in some way. So, whatever. I came home from work and then I had to kind of hurry up and get over there, or whatever, leave to get there on time. And it did say 4 p.m. And for some reason in my mind, I had a different time. I'm like, I don't have time to check, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Go down, get there. No one's here at this place, and I'm like, oh crap, I screwed something up. Hopefully this time it's the right day, because some other time I got to whatever place I needed to on the wrong day. That was fun. And so I call one of my buddies, because I only have one of the people's phone numbers. I'm like, it's today, right? He's like, yeah. I'm like, what time is it? He's like, it's 3 hours from now. I'm like, well, that's lovely. I guess I'm gonna have to kill 3 hours. So for to give people some perspective, it takes like at least an hour or so for me to get to Toronto back to my house, and then there's also transit from where I was downtown, and then whenever the buses leave. So there wouldn't be a point going all the way back to my house and then going all the way down. That would just be a waste of money. So I'm like, I could watch a movie or I could just walk around. I guess I'll just walk around because there's no good movies out that I haven't seen already. So I walk it around and I'm like, well, since I'm down here, I might as well try and find a Switch. And if I find one by any chance, I'll just buy it on the spot because that'd be pretty cool. Of course, I haven't been downtown a whole lot. I don't know like everything around the area. So just walking around, I only know like 2 EB Games stores, and those were the only ones I visited. Apparently, we don't have like random electronic stores around. I couldn't find a Best Buy for the life of me for whatever reason, even though I've been to one before for some like Nintendo E3 event or whatever. But anyway, this kind of got me like excited to get a Switch. I'm like, okay, crap. Now I'm really thinking about actually getting it. Now I'm kind of solidifying it in my mind, and then. The ARMS thing happened, and they're like, oh yeah, there's a second weekend of ARMS. I'm like, oh crap. And then, some people are kind of mixed on the controls and whatnot. I'm like, crap, I don't want to spend $90 on this game if I don't like the controls. So now I'm trying to get one in time for the weekend so I can try ARMS to see if I like it or not, based off of like an hour or two or however much time I can get in. And, so now I've called a bunch of stores. I've figured out, or I asked them like what times are the best to call, and like got stuff on their wish list. And I have this one website called nowinstock.net. It basically sends you notifications if a store gets something in stock. So I have my iPad in front of me with that on. I have it like on the desktop with that on. I got it like all over these places because a couple of times. It's gone off. Actually, yeah, today it went off a couple of times while I was at work. So that kind of blew because I couldn't do anything. It's funny. I woke up at like 6. I had to be at work for like 7 in the morning. And the first round was like at 8 o'clock. I'm like, well, that's fun. You do it right as I just start work a bit. But yeah, the other thing is I came home and I'm like, okay, I'll call a bunch of these stores. So I call EB Games. I'm like, oh, do you have any Switch consoles? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, great. Do you have a gray one? Nope. Damn it. Okay, let me call Toys R Us.
Oh
hey, Toys R Us. Hold on. Like, hey, Toys R Us, do you have them? Yeah, we just got some in. Oh, great. Do you have any gray ones? Nope. For the love of crap, come on, are you kidding me?
Don't get a Switch. I'm gonna kill you.
So I called some of the stores. Some of them were online only. I called Walmart. I don't know why. Walmart doesn't like pick up their phone apparently. As I put it before, they neglect their phone like a parent neglects their unwanted child.
Yeah, that's because they hate their jobs. Like they're the same here. They're the same down here, man. Those people hate their jobs. They get paid jack shit. That's why they don't pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I'm really hating it. I bought a screen protector, so I'm already locked in.
Eli, let's pin him to the wall. Let us get straight. You literally did not buy Switch because you couldn't get the color you wanted.
Exactly. I'm so here's the thing.
He's got to make sure he accessorizes correctly. It's the wrong color.
I'm very neurotic, clearly, but no.
Like he can't be caught on the bus with blue and red Joy-Cons if he's like got a if he's got a gray backpack on.
So here's the thing. I'm not actually in a hurry to get a Switch. The only reason I'm in a hurry to get a Switch is because I want to try out ARMS. If that wasn't, or try out ARMS for free, I should say. If that wasn't it, like I wouldn't mind, like, because there's no real rush. Like I could wait. It's just for that fact. But I also don't want to spend $450 on something and then like look at it and be kind of annoyed with it. I just like, I don't know. I like the blue and red colors themselves, but I also like that the gray is like uniform look. And it doesn't like distract you, because I'm pretty sure those neon colored controllers are gonna like distract me some part. But yeah.
I hear you. I'm busting your chops a little bit.
At
I
the
mean,
s-
like,
oh,
the
what-
irony is, like, I wanted the colored Joy-Cons slightly more. It wasn't like a
Mhm.
big difference for me. I never even seen them in real life, to be honest with you. But it was like on the fence for me. So for me, it was like I got the one I actually like less, which was the uniform gray.
Hmm.
I'm not unhappy with it, but I'm in a different place than you, where it's like I didn't have a strong opinion. I was like, I'm happy to get it either way, given the shortages, because I had a launch day,
Yeah.
get. So I hear you. I'm busting your chops a little bit. It's funny that
No,
arms
I totally get it. Sorry,
more
what?
than no. It's funny that arms is the thing that's making you have the itch. I mean, it's
Well,
it's
it's
a
only
little
because you can try it for free for like a weekend. If it was
Right.
just a free demo indefinitely, it's like, okay, well, whatever. But it's like, you can only try it for free for these days. It's like, crap. Well, it's either you try it for free or I spend $90 on it and hope, it's
Right.
good enough.
Right.
And I mean, technically I could buy gray Joy-Cons, but to be honest, like I don't have people coming
Right.
over all the time that would justify paying another like $100 for a pair of controllers.
That is silly.
So-
That is silly. You're making a good case for not buying it, like on the whim. Like you want it the way you want it. It sounds like they're coming in stock a little more frequently based on your research. Keep us posted on that app because that's kind of cool. Like I've heard of people using those in stock apps and stuff like that. I've never used one myself, but I've thought about it. I never did it. So keep us posted if it works out. Because that's neat that you're chasing it that way. I've never bothered with stuff I want. I'll line up or whatever. I've never gone the distance. What you're doing now?
Yeah, and it even shows like the history of what stores have gotten them in stock at what times and when they've sold out. At least for I guess online stock. And I predicted that like this week is actually pretty good for getting stock in, and I was right because people got stock in today. Now I don't know how many times they'll get it in a week. Probably not for retail stores. Amazon seems to be pretty good for multiple times a week. Depends. But we'll see about that. But sorry to take up that much time. I did play Zelda, so I can finally stop talking about that every week for the last like 6 months. So I did beat it. The final boss isn't really like that tough. And actually playing through, like beating the dungeons makes it easier. It was kind of like obvious when you beat one and shoots a giant laser beam at it, but yeah, I didn't think it would make it as easy as it was. But no, doing Hyrule Castle was really fun. It was pretty tough. I even used some specialty armor so I wouldn't die so quickly. And then overall for the game, I like the exploration and climbing. That was like the highlight of the game, especially the combat. Unoclay's echoing. But and the story in the main dungeons are, I think, pretty lacking. Like there's some good cutscenes that I like with some emotion, but they're so far apart. That's really annoying. The cutscenes are so far apart, like you can't really make a story out of it. It's basically a highlight reel, and you can't really make a cohesive story that way. But I really like it. And if Unoclay, if you have any questions, go for it.
Clay is not asking questions. He disconnected.
Yeah, he muted.
Clay ran away from any
No, I'm here.
spoilers he might encounter.
Am I still echoing? I know you guys said my mic echoed back at you. Am I okay
that's
now?
when you mute it.
Oh my bad. Oh, I'm so sorry.
I wonder why
no
that
problem.
happened. Anyway,
Yeah, I
no,
mute
we're
all
done.
the time.
We're not going to talk about Zelda spoilers. We wouldn't do that to you, Clay.
I didn't. I no, it's fine. I mean, if you guys wanted to chat, I mean, a lot of the listeners have probably finished it already.
I'm not going to drop a casual fact like the fact that Zelda and Link are the same person.
No! Oh, sweet reference. I like it. Yeah, cool. No, I didn't interrupt the flows. But you had a wonderful. What's your final play count? Like, how many hours do you think you spent on Zelda to finish?
Ooh, I don't know. I didn't actually check.
Okay.
I have to. I don't know. I'm gonna say at least 150 hours.
Damn.
Jeez,
How many shrines did you end up completing?
I finished 89 shrines. I have over 100 Korok seeds.
Dang.
I don't know how many quests I completed because it doesn't actually list it, but I know I completed a buttload. Same with the shrine
Now,
quest.
just to piss Clay off, can you go ahead and list every single one of the Korexy locations?
Sure. So there's this one and this one and oh yeah, it's this one and this one. It's all in the video, of course.
Yeah.
Near the end of the game, there's one spot where, well, one area in the final part of the game where there's still Koroks, and I thought it was kind of hilarious that they're in like this incredibly dangerous area, and they're still there just hiding like there's nothing wrong. It's like, oh yeah, I know, I'm just hiding under a rock here while everything's going to hell.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, let's not go any farther. Otherwise,
No.
Clay's going to unfriend us on Facebook. And
Yeah. He already
the
did
call.
on Twitter.
Clay, you still there? Or did he mute himself again?
I muted myself, but I just popped back in to see if you were talking about it or not. Dude, you don't even know. Like I already got a little spoiler from Matt last week, like a minor one, but still something. I'm like, I played it once in the past week, and I abandoned my horse so I can go slower. Like I have shrine beepers turned off. I abandoned my horse. I'm on foot. Like I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna go really slow now. Like you won't even believe how slow I'm gonna go in this game now.
To be
Like,
honest, like the horse isn't even useful a ton. Like if you
Yeah,
know
I
where
never
you're
used
going,
the force.
if you know where you're going, it's good. But other than that, like you're gonna be climbing on everything so much that the horse is you're just gonna ditch the horse like after 10 minutes.
okay, I mean, like I'm just in places where it wasn't really useful, and I'm just like going back and forth in these really tough areas, like you said, like climbing and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, I think I'm pretty early in the game still, especially the shrine sensor turned off. Like I'm,
Yeah.
I'm not nearly at the level. I am getting a little tired without getting too deep into Zelda talk when I'm the one who doesn't want to talk about it. Like I'm getting a little annoyed with how many of the shrines I'm finding aren't a shrine at all. And like, it's just like getting to it is the challenge. Cause like, I want the shrines, and I'm like you kind of can sense it once you pick up on that. Like, you're like, this was really hard to get to. And it's not going to have like a challenge inside it, but I'm still like, boo, like every time I'm like, I want a dungeon, that kind of thing. But still loving it. So, but what's your final grade for the game now that you've had time to step back, both of you? Like now that you've had time to reflect on it, you're a little fresh, Matt, Eli. You've been done for weeks. Like, do you still give it like 10 out of a 10 or a 9 out of a 10, or where are you at? Like, what are you thinking? Are you like our long lost Mike, where it's like, it's great but not good? Like.
Kind of.
Yeah. Kind of. Really?
Yeah, I'd probably give it like, I don't know, an 8.5 or a 9.
Oh.
Because I really like climbing and the combat is really fun, but the story and the dungeons are just really lacking. And I think it takes away from it. Especially the dungeons, because, sure, someone can brush off the story, but the dungeons are like, yeah, this isn't that great. So I don't think the shrines necessarily make up for it. I think it's smart because it populates the world and it gives you something to do, but yeah, they're just not good enough.
Eli, final thoughts on Zelda? What's your score?
Okay, well, I haven't played Zelda in like months now, maybe. I don't know. I think it's great. I think I would give it a 9.5 or a 10. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it as much. Definitely spectacular game. I've talked it to death.
Yeah. So have we all. So yeah, I'm not going to bring it up on future casts until I get like significantly, because we've talked to death about Zelda, which makes sense for a Nintendo podcast. Like, it's the biggest game on the system and will be for the foreseeable future, but it's still, we have talked it to death. Yeah. I mean, I'll give a score when I finish it someday. So check back in 2 years, listeners.
Yeah, I was about to say.
And at the end of the Switch's lifetime, and then at the end of the Switch's lifetime, maybe he'll do the DLC.
Hey, don't give me ideas. Don't give me ideas.
Gosh.
So cool.
I think it's time to move on. Eli, what have you been up to these last 3 internetless weeks?
Decent amount. I downloaded Puyo X Tetris.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
On the Nintendo Switch. It's so first of all, I bought like 2 download codes for 20% off. while I forgot where they were from, but they were 20% off. So I got like $100 worth of codes for $80. So that was cool. And so I went and Puyo Puyo Tetris on the Switch is $30. So it was like 26 24 if you take away the 20% or whatever. And yeah, it's a really solid, good game. It's got a story mode. Oh, I guess I should start from the beginning. Puyo Puyo is like this Japanese puzzle game. I don't know, like Tetris, but different. It took a while for it to click for me. Like, I was really terrible at it for a long time, and now I'm marginally less terrible because I kind of understand how to play it. But I had a friend who, while we were in Europe, was playing with me. Actually, this was cool. We played on the plane together. We grabbed like put up the kickstand. I grabbed one Joy-Con, he grabbed the other. We played together, and we played back when we got here and then moved in at the very beginning. And he would just wallop me. He told me it was similar to Pokemon Puzzle League, and I have to admit I've actually never played Pokemon Puzzle League. Sorry. And this is a kid who like
never played Puzzle League Pokemon. What?
I know.
Pokemon are you? Come on.
But he was like not a gamer. He doesn't play any games like at all anymore. Probably since he was like sophomore, junior in high school, he hasn't played any games. And all of a sudden, he's just kicking my ass, game after game after game, in Puyo Puyo. And I just can't understand what's going on. Like, am I just incompetent? Is he some sort of Puyo Puyo genius? I couldn't really understand. So I've kind of gotten better at it. I kind of understand how to get a good score now. You're supposed to build up like these combos. Kind of hard to explain. But overall, the game is really solid. Keeps me entertained. I ride it to work because I have to take public transport now, and it sucks. But at least I got Puyo Puyo with me. And there's actually a story mode in the game, which is really weird. At first, I read, so it's got like dialogue and stuff, and it's like so bad and cheesy that it's good. One of those sorts of situations.
Yeah.
So I'd be like reading and I'd be like, wow, this is so bad. And then I'd chuckle a little bit.
Yeah, so to interject for a second, I saw someone make a video. They're like, Puyo Puyo Tetris, rated E for everyone. And it shows like this one guy just makes a ton of sex jokes like throughout the whole game. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, they're just like subtle drops. And like, then you'll like read it and you're like, is this guy like suggesting child pornography? And then you'll like double take and you're like, no. What? And you'll like think about it and you'll be like, I don't know. Like maybe the writers were just super naive.
Wow. Yeah, the demo doesn't have any of that stuff in it. I played the demo a bunch with my wife, like I'd said a few weeks ago, and yeah, it seems solid. I like the swapping mechanic, like playing Tetris and Puyo Puyo at the same time, even though I'm not particularly good at Puyo. But yeah, it seems like a great game. When you were playing in the airplane, did you find that the turbulence or the bumping of the airplane makes your Switch slide around on the tray table?
Nah, it was pretty much there. Yeah, it was fine. It was good. It was actually a really good. I've traveled back home for the weekend, so I live in Denver but go to school in Michigan. I'm here in Michigan over the summer, and I traveled home, and it's a long trip because I have to take a bus from East Lansing to Detroit, and then a plane, and then waiting, and then driving home. It's like a 9 to 10 hour trip each way. It's a complete pain in the butt to go home. But so I like just played the Switch. Also, there's another game I played which I'll talk about a little later. And it was just pretty addicting. At one point, I started skipping the story cutscenes because it was just like so bad that like I stopped chuckling and I'm like, all right, I've had enough.
Yeah, just too much just for a puzzle game. You're like, come on, just get to the puzzle. 5 minutes of dialogue for no reason.
The idea of having a story in a puzzle game is just goofy.
I mean, some games do it well, like Professor Layton.
Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Well, they kind of build it to that, right? Like the puzzles are all about like in-world puzzles, whereas Puyo Puyo Tetris is like, here's a wall of like blocks, so you can't really. They don't really make it work. Yeah. So. Yeah.
But anyhow, I think it's so $30. All right, I might wait for that to be cheaper. My wife and I played the demo a bunch of times, and it doesn't even seem to have an expiration. Like we can go back and play the demo. You can only play like the most simple mode, like a 3-minute match, or I don't even know, something like that, where you swap back and forth. But like, it's almost enough for her and I, because she's not a gamer at all by any stretch. So it's like after a few rounds of 3-minute Tetris, it's like, then that's it. Like it's just like, like she's like, I don't even need to pay for it. It's like, all right, well, we played our demo Tetris or whatever. But so anyhow, that's cool. Yeah. I want to hear about the other game you've been playing that you told us before the podcast.
So the other game I've been playing is called Thumper.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the rhythm game, right?
Yeah, it's a rhythm game, and it just kicks my ass.
Yeah, I heard it was hard.
Yeah, it's hard, and I'm not like incompetent with music. I played instruments. Only
with music, you're incompetent in other areas, though. Just for clarification.
Yeah. Yes, I am. There are areas, like if I'm bad at something, like I'm not great with shooters, okay, unless I've like had a lot of practice. Like, I'm pretty good at Halo, back when I put a lot of time into it, but like at Call of Duty I'm terrible. I'm not gonna mince words and say like I'm just bad, and I'll say it and I'm like, all right. But like rhythm games are one of the genres that I'm actually genuinely pretty good at. I played an instrument, actually multiple instruments, for a long time, and I listen to music every day. I'm not inept when it comes to music. And I'm just getting walloped. Like, I will spend an hour on a boss battle.
Really? It's that hard?
It's pretty challenging. Maybe not an hour. Maybe I'm exaggerating. But like 20 to 30 minutes, yeah. And when there's, gosh, I think 7 worlds. And each one has it ranges 15 to 25 levels in them. And they're short levels. Like, they can be completed in 20 seconds, maybe 30 seconds.
Oh, wow.
But like, you die so often that it's like, man. And at the beginning, like, there's parts of the levels that'll kill you. So this is actually one of my complaints, is that a lot of rhythm games have a lot of room for error, in the way that you can do badly in most rhythm games and still make it to the end. You'll just get a bad score, and then you'll be encouraged to redo it and get better scores. If you're playing really hard on I don't know, what game did I suck at? Like Theater Rhythm, and you get a C ranking, they're not going to kick you off halfway. They'll tell you to redo it, and then you'll go and do better. In Thumper, it just kicks you off if you take 2 hits in a level. Which is a little bit irritating for me, because I don't think that in a rhythm game you should necessarily be stuck on a level. It kind of disrupts the flow of the music and the rhythm. I think it would be much better if they allowed you to just get through and take whatever rating you got or points you got and then go back and do it again and again. I think that replayability is better when it comes to rhythm games, because I'd rather not be interrupted every 15 seconds when I'm playing a rhythm game.
Right.
Yeah.
But other than that, there's some cool mechanic. My other complaint is that there's no music.
I was gonna ask about that. Is it because the music isn't really music? It's like this atmospheric, booming, thumping.
Yeah, it's like a build-up. It's like a build-up of different sounds and beats.
Yeah, it's like a film.
And it's not so much that there's like a soundtrack.
Sort of. Yeah. Do you ever get like the hang? Well, I'm sure you get the hang of it because you've beaten levels, but does it? Yeah, I guess it doesn't seem like there's a rhythm, like a musical rhythm to it. Like,
I mean, there's a rhythm, but it's not like music, which, depending on how, like, it does, like, you'll get into the groove of it. There's some interesting things too that I read about, like just interesting mechanics they threw in. For example, every world, I don't know how much you guys know music. I mean, I know Clay does, right? But every world has a, like, based off the numbered world it is, that's the time signature it's in.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So, like, I heard that when you get to the 7th world, it's like 7 beats a measure, which is super weird for anyone that knows anything about music.
Yeah.
Or 5 beats a measure, I guess, is a little more often, but still pretty weird. So it kind of starts screwing with you, especially when you finish off one world and then it changes time signatures. I guess I shouldn't say, I said key signature. I didn't mean key signature. It's a totally different thing. I meant time signature.
is it scary? Is the game's like, because the game looks a little like haunting, like the atmosphere of it or whatever. Like, how is that accurate from watching the trailer?
It's not scary, but there are moments that are a little bit creepy. Like the bosses are pretty creepy. There's like this skeleton that reappears every so often, like a skeleton, or I guess I should say skull. It's not the skeleton, just a skull that reappears and has this really menacing look and is just pretty creepy. But the game itself, I would not say is scary or creepy or anything like that.
Okay. It's just got a really cool kind of like art style and like a neat presentation. Because like I played like Neo Racing or whatever it is. I don't even remember the title because it's got such a Neo Racing FX, whatever, the F-Zero knockoff that's on Wii U and is now on Switch. And I liked it okay. But it doesn't have enough personality to keep me wanting to come back to it. It's just like, okay, it's a racer and it's neat. And I liked it. And I played it probably about 5 hours, 6, 7 hours, whatever. I didn't get particularly good at it because maybe part of it is like it doesn't have a lot of personality. I don't like narrative in games strictly, but I do like personality. And like that's probably a fine distinction for some. But like, you know, in that game, it caught my eye right away because I was like, it looks really like creepy. They bothered to do something different than just make a rhythm racer. Like they took it in a direction. They made a distinct art style choice and like flavor, you know, choice of the game. Yeah. And I looking forward to it because I did get the impression it was pretty hard to, like, from what I'd read online in a quick synopsis of it. And I was like, that always gets my ear. It's like if you're going to advertise it like that it's hard, but it's popular, that'll tell you the two things you need to know, that it's like it's not hard, but like impossibly unfair. It's just really difficult. And, you know, I'm curious to see how that goes and hear your follow up after you've spent more time with it or whatever. So, yeah,
I'm about halfway through. I'm sure my second half of the game will go slower than my first half just because it's going to be more challenging.
Sure.
It doesn't have a ton of personality, to be honest. It does have like the mood, but like, yeah, it's not as prevalent. Like when you asked that question, I didn't think, oh yeah, it's there all the time. That's definitely a lot more subtle.
Okay.
The other thing I will say though is that it was interesting. I started thinking about it. Maybe like I'm on world 5, I think right now, and in world probably 3, it clicked for me that I should be thinking about it as a racer. And so all of a sudden, the way I was looking at it was like the turns and the stuff. I thought about it as like drifting, and so I mapped, because you can map some of the buttons. So I mapped the action button to my right trigger, and I started like treating it like a racing game. It was kind of weird. So when I was supposed to like go right or left, I just thought about it as like a drifting right or left, which made my life a little bit easier when I started thinking about it that way.
It's funny that it took you a little while to get into that thought process, because looking at it for me, that's what I think of when I look at it. It looks like a racer from the trailers, a racer with music in it, not the other way around. So that's interesting that you came at it from a different direction, because yeah, the different ways we see games, you know, because to me, I'm like, oh yeah, it looks like F-Zero-esque only with rhythm music gaming in it or something. So, well, neat. I'm going to definitely get it at some point because I really like the look of it. I have a feeling I'll like it. And I you know, the trailers have told me what I need to know about it, and you've kind of confirmed it. So, neato.
One last question. Does the HD rumble like have an effect that you've noticed, or not so much?
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that question?
Oh, I said, have you noticed the HD rumble in it, or not so much?
Yeah, I guess I've noticed the rumble. I don't know what to look for in HD rumble. It just feels like rumble. To be honest, it's pretty cool. I guess I noticed the fact that it's there and you can turn it off, but I wasn't like, man, I'm feeling ice cubes right now.
Yeah. Okay, cool. It just seemed like it would be cool with it, and when I heard it got it, I thought that might affect the game in a positive way.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you're asking about all these. I didn't want to watch the trailer, so I just went in not knowing anything other than the fact that it was getting good reviews.
Yeah.
So you're asking about all these features that they probably talked about, and I'm like, I mean, I guess.
No, the trailer I saw was really just like more like the atmosphere. Like, to be honest with you, it was like showing you some video screen time. of the racing and some boss like clips, it looked like, and then just like more the flavor bled through. For me, it was the kind of trailer I want. I was like, lots of gameplay footage, but let me know what it feels like, to play it. And it looked a little dark and haunting, which is why I went there, because I was like, that looks cool. I have a soft spot for like kind of creepy games, even though they end up making me stressed out in a weird way. But,
Yeah.
Neat.
Cool. All right, so Unoclay, quickly, I guess, what have you been playing besides Zelda?
Yeah, I won't like bleed over on like too much, because we have been going on a long time here. Like I beat Mega Man 4 on my NES. That was great. It was tough. It's Mega Man. Talked about it last week when it was just you and me, Matt. It was awesome. I did have to
Was that a diss towards me?
Oh no, not at all. No, it was just I just meant so for I was almost like for reference for you why I'm not talking about it a lot. Like beat Mega Man 4. It was great. I'll make my public confessional. It's the final Wily stages are like it's like your classic Mega Man. You have to like go through so many stages in a row, and there's no continues once you start Wily, or there's no passwords. There's only continue. So you got to do it all in one sitting. So toward the end, I did look up like how to beat Wily, which weapon to use on him, because it was just like I've been sitting here an hour and a half, and I'm not like y'all kids sit there at a game console for like 2 straight hours and think that's nothing. I'm like I'm not going to find myself inclined to come back to this anytime soon. If I don't beat this, I'm going to be pissed and be like, gosh darn it. Like, it took me an hour and a half to get here already. I could have done it. It was just more like one of those things where I made the calculated decision to do it, because I was like, I'm going to have to do this 10 times to test all my weapons on him, don't guess the right one, or figure out what spot to shoot or whatever, that kind of thing. But it was neat. Standard Mega Man 4, play it or don't if you hate Mega Man. I was at a thrift store the other day. I got DJ Hero and the turntables for Wii for $6 total. So Wii is almost retro at this point. Keep in mind, Wii is a long time ago. So I feel like okay, it fits my ethos. So I've been playing some DJ Hero. It's not terrible. It's it's Guitar Hero with a DJ table. It's not as good as Guitar Hero, but
it's a fun game. When I
played?
hear some of the songs, like maybe on the radio or something, like the original versions, I always remember like the DJ Hero versions where it like mixed another song in.
Yeah, there are. Like, I mean, I'm really early in the game, but the West Coast rap ones are my favorites, where it's like Snoop and stuff. That's all right there for me.
Yeah.
I'm not super hip to new music these days, so some of the stuff strikes me as like stuff I've never heard or whatever. But yeah, I can get down with some West Coast rap and stuff. So yeah, I've been liking it, but my wrists were getting sore from doing the weird angles you got to do to grab the buttons and scratch the table and stuff.
Yeah.
So I break from it.
Yeah, it can definitely get crazy because there's like several buttons and sliders and some other stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I like it. It's funny. I mean, for $6, I was like, I can't go wrong, even if it's broken. Like it was like as is, and I was like. I actually sold my Guitar Hero Wii entire band set a couple of years ago for like $90. Like I had to charge them like $20 to ship it because of the drums. But like I got like, half of the original value, even like when Wii was already over for Guitar Hero. So I didn't know if it was valuable or not. I was like, maybe they're not. Like the end of the story is DJ Hero turntables for Wii are not valuable currently. They are like cheap as crap. But, getting it at a thrift store was like, whatever, who cares kind of thing. So
anytime you confront like a gaming peripheral, like you get hardware, I would say just go for it when it's cheap enough, because it's like someone you can always buy, or, if it's not available, download software, but you can't do anything about the hardware. So it's like, if you see that Wii Fit board for like $10 or whatever, might as well. Because I think they had it on sale for really cheap at one point too.
Not a good example, but you're right overall. I totally agree with you overall. But like I'd say with the Wii Fit board, I've been at a lot of thrift stores lately because I'm buying props for a little movie I want to shoot. And I literally was in like 10 thrift stores over the last 2 weeks. And I see Wii balance boards in every single place, and I feel sad for them. I'm like, I want to buy them and give them a home. Like I'm like, oh, somebody once had a good time on you, and now you're sitting there like an abandoned toy store, like Castaway. It's like, oh, like poor balance board. And there's like 3 or 4 of them usually, frankly, like sitting there in a stack. So maybe you're right. Maybe there's going to be egg on my face, and this podcast will be the proof someday when balance boards are flipping for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Someone figures out this cool use for them down the road, but not right now. You need a warehouse to store them. But the main thing I've been playing, and we can talk, it's probably one of our main bulletins that we can talk about. It's an ARMS demo. I did spend some time with that. I'm excited to hear you guys talk about it once Matt finds his fucking fancy gray sweat. Once Eli is now back in the States with the internet, so after next weekend he'll get a chance to play it, I guess. So I did play it. I won't go on too much at length, so we can all talk about it together. But my like, if I gave a nutshell, I'd say I went into it like, if it's a 1 out of 100 on terms of excitement, I was about at like a little less than a 50, and that's being like nice. I'm not being rude. Like, I wasn't at like halfway excited like I might be for a 2D Mario game. Like, I'm like, it's 2D Mario. Like, I'm still gonna play it and like it. It's just like I'm not that excited. It's more like a little bit, like I've said before, I'm a little worried about ARMS. I'm like, what is it? Is it going to be fun? I really like Splatoon. I want to see you guys have another Splatoon, like unexpected success, but I'm not feeling it the same way as that. After playing it, I played only 1 hour, full 1 hour of the demo. I got on for one of them for the whole time till they kicked us out. I am into it, and I think I'm going to buy it. Like, I can say that. Like, ooh, is everybody going to feel that way? I don't know that everyone's going to feel that way. I think some people are going to be like a little still on the fence after you play it. I think I could see both of you, knowing you well, still wanting to know more. But I had a good time with it. Like, it's there. You've probably seen some of the posts where people are wondering things like, can you win by mashing buttons and stuff like that? And there's moments where you feel like that, but that's, I think, because most of us are new playing it. And like, you don't have like the moves down. It's like Smash Brothers if you'd never played Smash Brothers. Like, everyone's just going to jump in there and just start doing specials the whole time. And there's going to be no artifice to it. There's going to be no, slick gameplay. So, I mean, the best people were the people that have played the longest. And you could tell because you get points in your avatar as you're playing, even in the demo. And so you could tell who'd been on the whole time because they'd have a lot more points than the people who just joined. And then you'd beat on those people if you got matched against them. You just like deck them instantly because you figured out like one trick. You're like, oh, I can double jump. And you didn't remember that, or you didn't know that or something. And then you figure it out. You're like, wow, that makes a big difference. I can double jump and like avoid hits, or whatever. And then, I mean, I took half the match, for instance. For one thing, I got really mad at one point. I should fully disclose. I got really frustrated with it, like almost on the verge of throwing a Switch controller, like anger, where you're like getting beat up, you just get decked, and you're like, this game sucks. Like, literally, you have that rage quit reaction. Like, I hate this game. I'm mad. Because I was in. It was the way it worked very briefly is like it was random. You didn't get to pick what kind of game you were playing. It kept shuffling you in different games. You'd be in a lobby with like the same people, it seemed like most of the time, but you'd shuffle into different configurations. First, you'd play like 1-on-1 against someone. Then you might play 3-on-3, a free for all with 3 players. Then you'd play volleyball, and I'll mention that. And then you'd play like 2-on-2, and then it would shuffle some other way. It wasn't even like necessarily in order. It would just shuffle the players that were available around into different configurations. It might have been shuffling you based on your experience, like trying to match you with someone who had the most points to you, but I couldn't tell for sure given only an hour to play it. But though I was saying, like, I got really mad at one point because I was in a 2-on-2 team match where you're paired with the other player and you're fighting another team. And me and my teammate got separated, and that may or may not be a good strategy. I can't comment on that, but I couldn't figure out how to orient on the guy that was behind me, because it's tank controls if you're using the motion controls. I mean, it's tank controls sort of, period, even if you were using joystick, like in the grip version. I wasn't. I was using the thumbs up version or whatever. And I couldn't figure out how to orient on the guy behind me. And I'm pretty sure the tutorial didn't tell you how to do that. They gave you a very quick tutorial before you could start playing. I'm pretty positive it didn't mention how to orient, because it probably would have been a little complicated to explain. And I was just getting punched in the back of the head by the guy that was behind me while my character was oriented on the opponent across the arena from me, and I'm throwing my arms, but I'm just getting punched, and I got KO'd, and I literally almost threw one of my controllers. I was so mad. I was like, I'd been doing good up to that point, and this is just like, I can't figure out how to turn around. He won't turn around. Turns out, if you just spoiler alert, controller spoiler alert, you actually, if you're using the Joy-Cons in the thumbs up mode, you have to reach down with your thumb to the A, B, X, Y buttons. Either control or work, and it'll reorient. It'll Z target to the other opponent. Or if you're in a 3-on-3, same thing. Or excuse me, a 3-person melee where you're all 3 fighting each other. Say if you have your left Joy-Con and your right Joy-Con in your hands, and you want to orient to the guy that's more on your left, you would use the buttons. Any button on your left Joy-Con, you could just smack it with your thumb, and you'll orient to that character. Same for the right hand if you want to orient to the right, and you can just cycle through them that way. So that took me a while to figure out that. And that's a little bit of an example of like the controls are weird. Like if you're going to use the thumbs up mode, which is pretty fun, but clunky, like it's fun, but you're going to fight the controls a little bit. I can't wait to hear if you guys hate it, like it, don't put up with it, whatever. Like Mike and me, for instance, we put up with Star Fox Zero and found it to be a pretty good game. I know Matt just didn't find it interesting. Eli didn't find it very good, if I remember correctly. So I think it's one of those things that can really split an audience. Like the controls could really split an audience on this. And I did not try the grip because I was just like, I'm just going to focus on playing it this one way. And I only tried 2 characters in the whole hour. So I was really trying to get a feel for like just randomly the 2 characters I picked. I picked the mummy and I picked the slime man because they just looked funny. And tried them out. And that's, I don't want to go on too long. I think it's fun. I had a great time. You cannot orient your arms as much as you think you can. Like I'll say that you can't twist your shots like hardcore. At least I couldn't figure out how to. They bend a little bit, but they don't like wrap around in circles. You're not like shooting guided missiles that you can curve in flight or anything like that. It's more like aim well before you punch. Lot of dodging, a lot of jumping. I don't know. There's so much I wrote down here. I just have so many notes on it. But I think it would be better if we wait till you guys play it a little bit more. I will say volleyball is hard, but once you sort of get it, it's fun. But I guarantee you're going to hate it when you first play it. Volleyball is weird. The whole thing is you can't let the volleyball touch the ground. And if someone else has played it before, they're going to just like spike the ball on you, and you're just going to have an exploding volleyball in your face. And I didn't even know about that mode going into it. And for whatever reason, that was one of the mini games they were featuring in online play in the beta I played. So it was like I liked it once it was toward the end, but it was kind of frustrating. Like I mostly like 1-on-1, and I like 3-player melee, and I was kind of bad at team 2-on-2. I kept feeling like I wasn't holding up my weight, or I was getting confused, and that was partly the like targeting problem I was having. I think I started to get better by the end of the hour, but I felt like I wasn't as good at team fighting as I was single players, because I was winning the majority of my matches single player versus like losing the majority in team combat. So yeah. Anything you guys want to ask since I played it? I mean, just wait till we all play it next week or whatever. Anything?
Yeah, that's probably best, I guess.
Yeah. I didn't have a chance to try it either, but I mean, I'll buy it. I pre-ordered it, but yeah.
Nice. I think I'm gonna get it at launch if the time it's like late June, right, when it comes out. Like yeah. I think I'm gonna buy it at launch. I'm feeling,
because why would you ever go outside during the summer?
Yeah, I know. Right? Well, in Philadelphia, that's actually a legitimate question. It's so hot here, it's insane. So, but yeah, like I mean, I was not saying that before, and now if I get a chance to play it again next week and this weekend, June 3rd weekend or whatever it is, and enjoy it again, I'm pretty sure I will buy it at launch, so I can be part of the get out of the gates and play it with people when it's fresh kind of experience, because it's got something. My shoulders did get a little sore. They didn't get sore per se, but I could feel it in my shoulders when I was done from using the motion controls from all the punching I'd been doing. I also had to stand up by the end because I was getting some just to be graphic, since we're at the hour mark of this podcast and only the hardcores are still listening, I was getting some weird chafing issues from sitting on the couch and like rushing around, like as much as you like find yourself like squirming around on the couch, like swinging your fists. I was like, dude, what's going on down below? I'm like, I was like, I got to get up. Like, so I was like actually standing in the middle of my living room, punching like a dork, like standing around like doing this, and there was no one home, thankfully. Then I noticed my curtains were open. My neighbors were probably like looking at me as usual, like whatever, nothing new there. So like, yeah. So yeah.
I'm just playing the Wii boxings.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's a good reference, man, because everyone's made that connection that there's something about Nintendo not being able to let ideas go. And that there is definitely the DNA of Wii Sports Boxing in this game. It's not even a question. It's there. It's like this is just the next evolution of that same idea they were trying there. Albeit in a much more fun way. So yeah, that's accurate though. So yeah, that's
cool.
it. That's the arm for it. I can't wait till you guys play it and see what you think. And you guys always surprise me. Like sometimes you're like, I hated it. It was gross. It was stupid, or whatever, or you're fair-minded or whatever. Like Mike, if we can ever make Mike to show up for the 100th episode next week, maybe he'll have played it and he'll call it pleb trash. But we'll see.
Well, that's a pretty glowing review because you were kind of middling on it and now you're definitely buying it, so that's got to say something good about it.
Yeah, it's fun. I had fun with it. It's got the Nintendo personality, and I think there's a little bit of depth to it. Am I going to regret that purchase when I find that there's not as much depth as I feel like there might be, or that like the online like fighting game community gets so good at it right away that you cannot go online and play, or you just get decked? Like, who knows? That could happen. Because it's a little bit Street Fighter-ish in the like shorter matches kind of experience. If someone's really good, they can really take you down. Like that's I can see that happening already. Like if they're coming at you with their really good like load in of like good arms and they're really pro character, I could see people getting good at this and making it for that kind of weird fighting game experience where you're not good enough to compete. But we'll have to see how the ranking and the online balancing and all that kind of stuff goes, the matchmaking. So yeah, arms.
Cool. Random update. So apparently my Pikachu 3DS is toast, but at least I can get a Zelda one in return of it, so that's kind of cool. It's a golden one. You can get a black one or a blue one or an NES one, which kind of looks ugly, and then the Zelda gold one. I'm like, cool, I'll get that one because I'm not replacing it myself. It's like the same. Still costs like $80 or $100, but I'm like, yeah, I'm not opening it and soldering crap. There's no point.
If it's totally busted, it's a good opportunity to learn to solder. I'll tell you that, man. You'll never regret learning a new skill.
It's not even like, really... yeah, I don't know.
What was that?
I might play like 1 or 2 games on it, so I wouldn't want to like destroy it and be like, well, now I definitely have to pay another $100 for like another one.
Okay.
Because I don't even.
Are they replacing it by returning it? Like, are you sending it in?
Yeah, I sent it in, and they're like, yeah, we can't fix it. It's just this top screen, like the LCD is broken. Like the rest of it, I'm pretty sure like was fine, but I guess they, whatever. I guess they can't fix it or whatever. So they're like, yeah, we'll just send you a new one. Choose one. I'm like, all right, well, I'll just do that because I don't think I can buy one for like $100, even if I soldered my own. And then I was like, oh, I screwed up. I'll just buy a new one. It's like, no. Like, they don't... Right. There's not ones that are like $100 unless I bought one used. So it's I might as well just
get one that's new. It was almost totally broken, where it was like you weren't going to get anything for it. So it's like, hey, why not take it apart and try and figure it out? I mean, that's some pretty advanced stuff, but it's the kind of stuff I do. And you learn things slowly but surely. You can learn how to repair things like a little bit, So
yeah.
But that's a better deal what you're doing. So. Yeah. Sad news for the Pikachu, but
I'll keep the box though.
Yeah, there you go.
Rip.
There you go.
All right, so now to some quick announcements. So it's funny you brought up Wii because apparently YouTube's gonna stop working on Wii on June the 30th. I'm surprised it's lasted this long. Apparently they first launched it in 2012, like just before the Wii U released, which is really weird. I thought it was on the Wii like before then, but I guess everyone was just using the browser to access it, but whatever.
Which I always did, because I always hate the app version of YouTube on anything. It makes me nuts when you can't see like all the choices and like everything. So like I always, even on my Wii U, I use the browser version. I'm like, I'm not using this stupid ass like apped out version where all it is like a couple videos on your screen at one time. Like, and it's tough to search for stuff, and I can't see my subscriptions and stuff. Like, yeah, that's interesting. I saw that today. I was thinking about all the grandmas out there. They're going to be like, where'd my YouTube videos of cats go?
Yeah. Nintendo's share price apparently is higher than when Pokemon Go was hot, which is really weird. Well, not weird, I guess, because the Switch is doing well, but it's still weird that it's higher than Pokemon Go was at its height. And it went up even more after Monster Hunter XX was announced. And I'm pretty sure that's because Flea bought 10 million Switches after hearing Monster Hunter XX was announced for Switch.
Our former co-host Flea like bought all the copies of the Monster Hunter. Yeah, he's a big fan of that series. We'll have to get his reactions on tape sometime for that.
It's funny. I saw it posted on Twitter that it was like, oh, the Monster Hunter announced for Switch. I'm like, how long? I'm like, I haven't seen Flea post about it. How long until it gets to him? And then like 10 minutes later,
counter,
he's going like nuts.
yeah. A lot of people are. I have some of my best friends around here that I play games with actually are huge Monster Hunter fans, and I can humbly say I got them into it with Try, and then I gave up on it because I was like, oh, Part 4 was just the same as Try, and I wasn't like enough to keep me into it anymore. It's just so many hours of commitment. So like I know I have friends that are like that don't own Switches yet, that could be the deciding factor for them. Like they are definitely in that group of people that are like Monster Hunter forever, like tattoo on their forehead kind of level fans, you know, like 500 hours is nothing in Monster Hunter kind of attitudes. So yeah, I was happy to see that. That's neat. Now is XX, is it announced for other systems?
No, it was on. I think X was on 3DS, or maybe XX was on 3DS. I forget.
I don't know how it works.
I think one of the versions was on 3DS.
Okay.
But yeah, moving on. Fire Emblem Heroes goes full on waifu. They actually have the female characters in wedding gowns. I just reported because I thought it was funny that they actually like went the whole waifu route with it. Just like, okay, well, I mean, that's what people want, so just preaching to the choir there, I guess.
Another thing I'm never gonna play. Hooray!
Yeah, I stopped after like a week or two. But moving on, so something weird happened this week. This Mario and Rabbids game we've been hearing about for like a couple of months, and people are kind of iffy. Maybe these are just rumors or ideas someone had or whatever, but now we have like actual promotional materials and actual images, and it's basically real. I'm not sure if you guys have seen them. I guess
the disclaimer should be, this isn't confirmed, this could be made up. But
it's basically real.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm confused. What are we talking about is real or isn't?
I posted the links in the chat, but
the game's existence.
Yeah, it's real.
What is? I'm still confused. Like for the sake of our listeners.
Okay, come on, play.
Jeez. So it's Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. It's
okay.
Not a real-time strategy. I forget. It's
a turn-based
strategy or something.
Like Paper Mario, I think.
No, because I think it's like not really an RPG. I think someone said it's like XCOM for kids.
Oh, really? Because it says
helps divide it. Like I know it's not necessarily.
So according to this promotional material, it's 35% exploration and 65% turn-based combat. Oh wait, so that's not okay because Mario. Yep, Paper Mario is not turn-based. My bad.
What?
Cool.
But,
so
that's not what I.
It also says it's a refreshing experience. You can play with Princess Peach as a badass. Actually, they use the promotional material says, quote, she's a kick-ass. But, it says, quote, self-defense kick-ass. And then it says they're supposed to reveal it at E3, and it's supposed to be a surprise. Surprise.
Yeah. Surprise. It's not a surprise. But what do you guys think of this game?
I don't have like much to say about it because I haven't been following it too closely.
Okay.
But if it's what you guys are saying, it doesn't sound like for me. That's all I can really say. Like I'd want to see an actual like real like gameplay trailer to even make a judgment about it. It's kind of like, yeah, like not for me, but I could see it being something that like hardcore Nintendo fans want. I don't know who else wants something like this, but do we know who's rumored to be developing it? Like who?
Yeah, it's
like
Ubisoft.
what studio or who is it? Ubisoft. Okay. I mean, with their money and power behind it, then maybe it could be something awesome. I mean, I like Rayman. I don't really ever play the Rabbids games, so you know I have a little bit of exposure to it, but only a very little. So it's not really what I'm excited for, but whatever. I mean, what about you guys?
I mean, unless it's like a terrible game, I'll buy it just because I buy all the games and wait for the sales. Like so here's the thing. Like with ARMS, for example, I pre-ordered it when there was a deal where you got $25 off a $100 order. So I pre-ordered 2 games, plus I got the 20% off from Best Buy, like I usually do. So I ended up paying $36 for ARMS. Okay, which is a pretty good price for a brand new game. Problem though is that if I were to say not want it anymore and I canceled it because I'm going under that 100, then they would charge me $25 because that's what I got back from it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of hard to explain, but pretty much not only did I already pre-order it and get a good deal on it, but if I cancel the pre-order, then I, get screwed over. So that's what I end up doing with like pretty much all my pre-orders for Switch games. So unless it's just like an absolutely like terrible game, I will end up buying it.
You're funny. I envy your devotion. Like I just can't afford the time, or the time to really put that much time in all these games that are coming out. I definitely have to be more selective than that. I mean, I'm interested in a way in a lot of these things. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, I don't have the time either. I just like throwing away my money for some reason.
Well, at least you can admit it.
I still have Persona and Mass Effect
Oh my god!
waiting for me. Fire Emblem here, and I'm over here playing Thumper, spending an hour in a boss battle.
Yeah, bro. Thumper looks sick though. I'm still gonna stand up for that one. Like that's probably better than any stupid Persona RPG 100-hour like pretend
How dare you?
real
The
life.
music
Like
is amazing.
yeah,
I don't know why I looked up the music, or at least some of the like the vocal tracks, and they're actually really cool. It's like 70s kind of funky pop music. It's really cool. Love it. But
I don't know much about it. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
yeah, but I don't know. A lot of people seem kind of poo-poo on this because the Rabbids, and I can get that. I kind of think they're funny, but I also haven't like played their 12 games that they've made, so I haven't gotten sick of them or anything. But and yeah, sure, Rayman would be cooler, but I don't know. I think this is kind of cool because it's so like random and stupid that it can't not be entertaining in some sort of way. Because like who the heck would pair up Mario with Rabbids and then have the Rabbids dress up as the characters? It's just like so weird. It seems entertaining enough on its own. But
yeah, I agree.
I do think like
I like that it's weird. Don't get me wrong. I like that it's weird. It's like, but what we're hearing, the gameplay might be like, like that's really where for me it's like if this is a platformer or something like with the Rabbids or I don't even know, then I might be into it. It's like, but who knows? Who knows? It's weird. I like weird. I will say that.
Yeah, yeah. Laura Kate Dale said it's a turn-based RPG, XCOM for kids. That's where that came from.
Yeah,
so,
y'all, not for play is what she meant. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm excited to see how they reveal it. Just how they show this partnership of Mario and these Rabbids, because it has to be something really absurd and hilarious.
Oh, you know how they'll do it. It'll be like, Mario running around in his world, and then the Rabbids like make a surprise appearance. I don't know, or the other way around. It'll be like the Rabbids running around. People will be like, "Huh, it's a Rabbids game," and then Mario pops in looking all Rabbids like. You know how these reveals go.
Yeah.
I guess. I hope it is wacky and weird.
I
Like
see the trailer in my eyes right now.
I feel you. I can pick up what you're imagining. Like I like, hey, Nintendo's greatest asset might be how strange they can be sometimes. So like I'm down. I'm down.
Oh my gosh, I'm imagining. So Mario is walking like just on some dirt path, and then you hear something rustling in a bush,
Mhm.
and he turns over his shoulder and looks, and you see the rabbits pop out dressed as like Mario, and it cuts back to Mario and cuts back to rabbits and cuts back to Mario and cuts back to the rabbits, and the rabbits just goes "Dah!" and then just shows like gameplay after that.
I can
Like
I can
that's
see
all it
that
needs.
you are definitely in the visual arts department, Matt. You just like came up with a good trailer. Now film it, make it, and be famous. Now come on, get after it. Nice.
Oh, man.
Well, besides
That'd be
weird
crazy.
games that we only sort of kind of care about, what else is there on tap for today?
This isn't really a game announcement or a game specifically, but they showed off the first teaser for the Castlevania TV show.
Oh, where did you see
yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Is that on?
Yeah, I'll send you a link
No, I
to
could
that.
find it. I just didn't see it. Okay, thanks.
Okay, yeah.
Uh,
But
neat.
the person who was making it was saying like, yeah, it's like I think it's like rated R. Well, it's on Netflix. I don't remember how the ratings work for that. But he basically said Game of Thrones kind of show, which I mean everyone says everything is Game of Thrones if there's fantasy involved. But no, it looks really cool. Takes place in I think the Castlevania 3 timeline
3D.
or whatever. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think there's that many like gothic horror shows, or at least not cartoon based or anime based or however you want to put it. So I think it'll be pretty cool. It comes out July 7th, and because it's on Netflix, you can just binge watch it. So
Ooh. Ooh.
I don't even have like a stake in Castlevania. Like I haven't really played the games, but I like the
Oh, really?
setting and I like the style.
All right. I have played a lot of Castlevania over the years, many, not all, but I have a fear always when there's like any kind of like IP of a video game being made into a TV show,
Yeah.
of like I have fears of the Captain N, like universe, or the Mario and Luigi Super Show and stuff like that, or even like the Mortal Kombat movies, which like some people sort of like Mortal Kombat 1, I think, but I personally have trouble watching stuff like that. It's not exactly what I want to see. So I'm tentatively interested. I'm a big fan of Netflix and a lot of Netflix originals, but I don't by any means have like rose-colored glasses on. I think a fair amount of the stuff they put out is a little bit like only average, like kind of made to appeal to an audience, maybe not me, like in terms of quality. Like in some of their specials, some of the stuff I've seen, I like some of it, and Netflix is definitely my streaming service of choice. I'll wait and see. I didn't watch the trailer, and I'm not going to watch it right this second, but I will watch it after we get off here and talk to you guys about it maybe next week or another time. But I'll probably give it an episode or two just because it's so the heart of video games. Like for me, I've been playing Castlevania. I have my copy of Castlevania 1 for NES that I've had since childhood. It was technically my brother's Christmas present, like when we, like whatever year it came out. I'm not sure, like 86, 87, something like that, I would have to guess. Sitting a few feet from me here. So I'm OG with Castlevania. Like I love it as a series, especially the 2D ones, whether they're on NES or on DS especially. I really like those. So yeah, I'm interested. I mean, 3 is the natural choice if they were going to go OG Castlevania, because like it was the first one where there was like a really like kind of characters you could latch onto, in my opinion. Like it had the branching paths, and you could play as different characters during the game itself. You could select your character back and forth depending on which paths you took, and switch out characters on the fly, which is pretty radical in that era. Like pretty new. And a lot of people consider Part 3 to be the best of the originals. I kind of am like loyal to the very original first game, but I mean, it's not like it's not like the end of the world to me. I'm interested. I would need to know more about the production studio or the directors or something like that to say much more on it, like, whether I think it's going to be good or not. But I can't believe it's happening. I sort of was like, really?
Yeah, it came out of nowhere too.
Yeah, like, really? Castlevania gets a series. Like, okay.
The funny thing is we've heard about like a Zelda show with Netflix like years ago. And we've never heard anything back from that. But this is just like, here you go, Castlevania TV show. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I know they announced it a little. This wasn't the first time like they announced it, but still, they only announced it like a month or two ago, I think. So it still just came out of the blue. Crazy.
Yeah. I kind of that actually makes me worry a little bit. Like, to be honest with you, that it's like, is it like a real rush job, Netflixy, like cheapo kind of thing? Like let's bang this out kind of thing, or was it in the works longer, or do they have the right kind of people behind it to like make it be a good thing? I don't know.
It's just, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's just like part of Netflix's like marketing, because they know once they launch it, like all of the episodes are there, so there's no real need to like build up momentum because they're making like the whole season in that time. So with other TV shows, that because it's a week to week, you can hype it up a couple of months before, and then it's like, okay, now you'll get into the swing of things and you have this slow grind. Versus Netflix, it's like, oh yeah, it's here and you're done whenever you want, so we don't really need to spend like months teasing it, because it's going to take a lot longer for them to make it. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no. I understand what you're getting.
To put it into perspective of like Daredevil, it's like that's going to take them like a year and a half or whatever to make like just one season. So there's no point in like teasing it too early, because it's still going to be like a really long gap. Yeah. So I think that might be it.
Yeah, there could be something to that. It's hard to say. Like I think there's something to what you're saying. Like my bigger worry here, if it wouldn't be something like you're saying, like they made it and they didn't need to hype it, is that since it's like animation, that it's like cheap animation, and it's not going to be. The story's more important for me. I can watch the assiest looking animation if the story's good, but if it's like brain dead, like just a brain dead adventure story or something like that, like I'm not going to want to like stick with it. I'll get really bored of it pretty quickly, even if it's got like, Simon Belmont in it. I don't care. Like it's like whatever. Like, so we will see. That's interesting though. So I'll have to check out that trailer. I'm excited to, now that you mentioned it.
I think it'll have a better shot because it's a TV show versus like a movie. Because I think that's where video game properties fall apart. Like trying to adapt something into a movie that's like 20 hours long is just not feasible. And also you have like this big budget that's, really hard to condense with some weird property, and, trying to make it live action. So there's also problems there versus animation. You can just do whatever the heck you want. So I think, I think it should at least have the cards in its hand to be good, potentially. But so moving on. This is kind of short. A Hat in Time developer can't get a dev kit. I'm guessing they're all out of Switches and they don't want to. The Nintendo doesn't just want to hand them over. So if you do want to see A Hat in Time on the Switch, message Nintendo and I guess tag A Hat in Time developer. You can find them on Twitter somewhere. It's a 3D platformer. It looks really good. They've announced it, I think, 2 years ago or whatever. It was on Kickstarter. They've been slowly working. Well, not slowly. I don't want to discredit them, but I mean, they've been working on it for a long time, and I think it looks really good. And yeah, definitely check it out. I was gonna say that does suck that they haven't gotten dev kits, but on the flip side, I'm pretty happy with how many like games are being announced week to week, or for Switch, or being ported to Switch, because it seems like it's like everyone, like, okay, not the big third parties yet, but at least everyone else underneath them seems to be supporting it well. So
what I heard from a few developers I talked to, and one of the reasons that a lot of these games are developed in Unity And I don't know about this one in particular, but so from what I understand is that even though the Wii U and the 3DS supported Unity, it wasn't like real Unity, and a lot of developers, and this is one of the reasons why a lot of developers ended up announcing Kickstarters that got canceled, is because they saw it was Unity supported, announced a stretch goal for a Wii U version, and then found out when they went to go port the game that the version of Unity on the Wii U was just a piece of crap. And like pretty much they had to rebuild the game from scratch to get it to run on the Wii U or the version of Unity on the Wii U. But from what I've talked to, I don't know, a few developers who develop on Unity. And what they're pretty much pointing out is that the Switch is different. It's like actual Unity. And that it's like hasn't been easier to port because the program is just so functions so well with their previous development tools. So I don't know. I need to talk to more developers that don't develop on Unity, because that would be interesting to see if there's a comparison there. But I think that this is one of the big reasons we're seeing so many games announced.
That actually makes a lot of sense, because especially for 3DS. I mean, I think we all kind of knew like the Unity that was on there was not going to be actual Unity, because like the regular 3DS couldn't do it, and then the new 3DS, it's like, okay, how you didn't add that much power to it, so how much could you really do with it? So that's kind of expected, but yeah, no, that would make a lot of sense why everything's coming over.
Indeed.
Speaking of Square Enix announced a new game for the Switch. It's probably coming to other platforms as well, called Lost Sphere. It's made by their Tokyo RPG Factory, which I believe made Bravely Default. So it's their development studio saying, yes, we're going back to Final Fantasy the way you wanted it. Please don't leave. But
cool. I hadn't looked at that. Like, I saw that got announced. I hadn't looked at it. So did it look okay, or was there any information or screenshots or anything, or is it just like unannounced?
There's a trailer of it and it shows gameplay, but there's not much to make out of it yet.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Cool that more stuff is being announced. And then just the last weird thing, the Pokemon Company made a weird smartphone game. It's called Magikarp Jump, and I don't know really why they made it, but there's also a Magikarp song they made alongside it, or before it, which is really weird. It's making fun of how useless Magikarp is, but like this girl still likes the Magikarp. It's really weird. It's kind of like their Slowpoke video they made a couple of years back. It's kind of that kind of weirdness. I don't know.
Just to remind
out
me,
of nowhere,
the non-Pokemon player of the group, is Magikarp that thing that sometimes spawns as an assist trophy in Smash Brothers and flops around and doesn't do anything?
I think the one that appears is Goldeen, but yeah, it's basically useless.
Yeah.
You guys are such nerds. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm on a podcast with you. Like, did you literally push your glasses up your nose as you said that? You were like,
I'm better than you. I don't need glasses.
It's the evolved form of Magikarp, which is a totally different subject.
It's not even that. You got it wrong too.
It's just like so just to be clear, that is not Magikarp in Smash Brothers. That is completely okay. I don't know why I thought that, like, because I don't know the word Magikarp out of context.
They're both,
for some reason
it acts like a Magikarp. It's useless. It might as well be Magikarp. It's just weird. You can like train your Magikarp and jump and stuff, and apparently if you lose in a battle, like, you just lose it and have to get a new one. I haven't actually played it or seen much of it. I just think it's weird they made some iPhone game that is using their most useless Pokemon out of all their Pokemon.
Maybe that's like a board. I can imagine that being a boardroom decision, because they're like, there was such a smash success with Pokemon Go. They're like, how far can we push this? Let's test it, like, for real. Let's test it with the least popular Pokemon and see if it sells. And if that sells, we are golden, folks. We are all going to be driving gold cars, like, by the end of the year. Like, we don't have to do anything anymore. We're gonna make the worst characters in the game. So I don't know. It sounds funny. I'm sure you guys are gonna 100%. I'm sure you guys are gonna buy it and 100% it, right?
I think it's free. but sure.
Oh, well, you're gonna buy fanboy T-shirts for it or something. Like, I don't know.
Totally.
You guys just like Pokemon a lot.
Of course, because he's my favorite, actually.
Pokemon.
That's gotta bust chops a little. Pokemon's awesome. I'm just teasing. I like it too. I don't really.
It's
like
okay.
it,
You can hate it. Flea hates it too.
I don't hate it at all. I just don't play it. So like I find you guys very amusing in how much you know about freaking Pokemon. So
it's my knowledge is
my dad one time. So one time I was just walking up the stairs or something to go up to my room back when I lived at home. And my dad just out of nowhere, or no, it was my mom, just out of nowhere says, "Eli," and I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Have you ever thought about how many brain cells you waste knowing all the Pokemon?" And I was just like,
you should have said.
You just came out of completely nowhere. I didn't even know what to say.
You should have said, "Mom." That was the mommiest mom thing you could ever say. That was so mom of you, Mom. That's classic parent right there. Yeah, my dad still asks me like, "How many concerts are you going to go to?" And I'm like,
all of them.
There's no number. Yes, all of them. Okay, like all of them. Like, that's it.
Oh, yeah, I remember my
so
mom.
You've got time for concerts, but you don't have time for every single Nintendo game.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, see, now you guys
conspiracy theory.
Now you guys are being my mom. You're like, why don't you play more Nintendo? Why do you waste so much brain power on those concerts?
Yeah. When is this going to be the final console? No. Do you stop watching movies? There's your answer.
Exactly. Oh, I have the old.
It's just my form of entertainment costs a lot more than a movie.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. I've got the ultimate response for that. My pop watches like all the sports. He watches all the sports. I don't even know which ones, and I don't watch any of the sports. Yeah. So it's always like, as soon as you stop watching frickin' football every Sunday of your life, or some other meaningless game where giant dudes hit each other with a stick or something, like, I'll stop caring about little cartoon creatures that jump on each other's head and yell Pokemon or whatever. So, and I don't even play it, Dad, for God's sake. Leave me alone. Yeah. Oh, so on that note, what else? Any more news matters?
Nope. That's it. So I think we'll wrap it up.
We made it. We survived, everyone.
Woo-hoo. Another marathon session. Episode 99 in the bag, bros. Where are we at here? Yeah. Oh, brother. Tune in next week for a special edition. Yeah, that's what my wife said. My wife said, that's a lot of talking. When are you guys going to do enough podcasts already?
Yeah. When I'm dead.
Oh, man. Yeah, tune in next week, everyone, for some super special episode. Wink, wink. Wink, wink, guys. Super special, right?
Don't hype it up.
The hype is getting deep. The hype train's leaving the station. Woo woo.
Uh-oh. All right, so that's it for this week. You can find me at the Mango Viking on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and VidMe. Eli, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Paul Salon. You can find my writing at NintendoEnthusiast.com. And then on YouTube, once I actually get my channel back up, is, of course, Nintendo Network 64.
Cool. And Unoclay, where can people find you?
Best way to find me currently is before I get completely kicked off Miiverse, because I keep dropping.
Stop posting porn on Miiverse. Jeez.
No,
I know no one's on it, but
I will never stop. I will get away with. No, like I went to see the Pixies, the rock band, the other night, and I came home. I was pretty inebriated, and I was like on Miiverse for no reason at all, and I was like, I need more friends in my Switch. So I'm doing what you're not supposed to do, which is post your Switch ID. But I keep trying to figure out a way that it won't pick me up, or that their monitors won't see me. I'll spell everything wrong, or like put spaces and dashes and stuff. But they still find me, and they still block my posts. But I get.
I swear I'm not a 40-year-old man.
No, kids. I've been playing Nintendo with me. No, it's the irony. I mean, we've complained about this before, but I have 99 friends on my Wii U, but I don't. You're not even allowed to post messages telling them to be your friend on Switch. Like, it's insane. It's insane. Like, they're already my friends.
99 friends. Episode 99.
There you go. I'm giving it to you. I'm giving you your segue for the title, my man. I knew you were going there. All right. I got 99 friends on my Switch. On my Wii U, but my Switch ain't none. Like I got 13 over there. Look,
Okay, it's okay, Unoclay. You can try again next time.
I got the hips and the hops. I'm cool with it. But no, and I keep getting dinged, and I keep getting the warning shot of like, we're going to can your Miiverse if you keep this up. And I'm like, please announce when Miiverse is being taken down so I can just start doing it every day. Because like every time I do it, I get like 1 or 2 new friends. Like because the message will stay up long enough to like a couple of my friends will see it and then be like, oh, okay, cool. Like, and so my point of all that is, I usually just direct them to my Twitter profile now, which is Unoclay_Switch, where you can see my friend code in the listing if you want to send me a friend request. And that's it. So thanks for everything, guys, as always.
Cool. So wherever you're listening, you can find us at Just Another Castle on basically every platform on the internet. You can hit us up with your questions at Just Another Castle or message me directly at the Mango Viking if you want to be a guest. So we'll see you next time and leave gaming to Nintendo.
I'll show this mega lizard how kind of mega magic. Wow, that was mega fun. Only